Welcome to G-Force Influencer Interviews, where today our guest is Anil Gupta. Anil, how are you doing today?
Very excited to be on the show, and I love where you are, actually.
Thank you so much. We're so glad you're here. Well, I asked Anil to be on the show because he is a world expert in relationships and happiness. And I can't really think of a better topic to hit up on right now than everybody who is quarantined, dealing with relationships at a whole new level, as well as dealing with finding their own happiness at this time. I'll tell you a little bit about him. Anil has coached some of the most famous celebrities on the planet, like Mike Tyson, top athletes and CEOs, and I met him as one of the guest speakers with Richard Branson on Necker Island. He enjoys helping people overcome obstacles that prevent them from living a fulfilled life and has appeared on stages all over the world. He has a TED Talk that you should all watch, and it shares his happiness formula. I'm going to try to get it out of him today. And if you want to have a dramatic impact on your life, please welcome Mr. Anil Gupta. Anil.
Hey, again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. You have impacted my life. Every time I hear you speak at all or even interact with you, I end up taking 4 pages of notes. So I thought you would be perfect to interview during a time like this. Our series now is Surviving and Thriving During COVID-19. We are not here just to get through this. We all want to be leveling up. And so I want to hear you share your story on how you even got into this. It's kind of a crazy thing. You're like the happiness guy. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, it really happened by accident. To be honest, I was in a very bad state in 2008. I was on the verge of suicide, and I needed an intervention from Tony Robbins, Tony's wife, Tony's brother-in-law, and my wife. And this is what I share in my TED Talk. And I realized life was not about me. It's about the difference I made. And this is what people need to realize. Look, it's not about you. It's how you show up. It's your greatness, how you serve other people. And this is a great opportunity for you to basically disappear, let the ego go and see how you can serve other people. In the moment you serve, in the moment you give authentically, I promise you there is no pain, there is no suffering.
Wow, that's so interesting that's what you say is the formula. Like that's the deal. I know that you've got another way you say it too, but in the darkest days of my life, like I had a really hard time in 2017. And what was crazy was the thing that saved me was serving. And it was going to BVI and helping people who lost everything in the hurricanes Irma and Maria back then. That was really devastating. And finding people who had lost more than me on paper, even though I was going through a lot emotionally at that time, and I was dealing with so many things, but seeing people who were stepping up, who were saying it's just stuff, or this too shall pass, and finding a way to help other people even in their community, and interviewing them and hearing their heart and watching them serve when they lost everything, it rocked me. And that is what got me through. So I'm so interesting. I guess it's interesting to see that's not just something that worked for me, that's a common denominator.
Yeah, it's the law of the universe, and it's so simple and it's so powerful, but you have to be careful that when you give, you actually give, and you're not wanting something back. You're not wanting someone to thank you or give you a claim. So the authentic giving is the secret.
So give me a little bit more on that. Tell me how, for people who, I've seen a lot of people, well, I did this and they did nothing back. What advice for that?
And it's really about the intent. When you have pure intent, that's when the authentic giving comes in. But if you have an intent of, look, if I do this, then I'll get this and they'll do this for me. And then you have that expectation that you want something back. And when you don't get it back, you get upset. And that doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve anybody. In fact, it affects everything. It affects your happiness, your joy, your self-expression, the amount of energy that you have. So the secret is awareness. Awareness of asking yourself, is this my pure intent? Is it pure intent? Awareness gives you clarity. Clarity gives you focus. Focus gives you action. Action gives you results, and results gives you momentum, which gives you everything. So when I started to give, the pain and suffering started to disappear, and I sort of felt better and better, and I did more and more and more. And it almost is addictive, because that's my number one thing right now, is to give. And if you've got people out there watching and listening, just perform 5 random acts of kindness and notice how you feel. Simple things. They don't have to be big things. Open the door for someone, thank someone, buy someone a coffee, smile at someone. You know, in some cases, leave the room. It'll make them happy. I'm just kidding there. There are 2 types of people. One is that they make you happy when they enter the room. 2, they make you happy when they leave the room. So, you know, you have to be the guy that makes them happy when you enter the room.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, happiness formula, you've got these, not tricks, but exercises I'm hearing, which I love. I love practical, but I would say this is the greatest struggle for most people right now. This depression is at an all-time high. Suicide rates, projections are insane. People are losing loved ones. They're not even able to say goodbye. And it's a really, really dark period in the world. So talking about something that seems impossible, how can people find immediate happiness if they just lost their job, they've been home for a month, and or they're going through this other dark period? You've shared a little bit. What else can we be focusing on?
Well, the second part of the formula is gratitude. You know, be grateful for what you have. So if you all look at your hands, when was the last time you thanked them? Probably never. What have they done for you? Everything. So instead of focusing on what you've lost, focus on what you have left, what you have. So in 2008, I had to tell the news to my wife. I said, honey, we've lost everything. And she looked up at me, and she had these big brown eyes, and she had a big smile on her face. And I said, honey, I don't understand why you're smiling. She said, honey, I knew something was wrong. I thought you were dying. I thought you had cancer. That's why she was happy, because she was focusing on me. She just wanted me.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one. And that's so funny. It's interesting. I'm seeing a recurring theme. So it's focusing on what you do have. So in my darkest period, I literally would force myself, and I had an accountability partner that would make me go up and write down on the whiteboard, what is working? What do we have? And one, the recurring theme, the top recurring theme, it was interesting. It wasn't my hands. It was, I have legs. I have legs. And for that, I am grateful. My mom loves me. It's pretty outside today.
Yeah.
I didn't get in a car wreck on my way to work. Like whatever it was, I would just write down whatever was working, because had it been different, I would have been more upset. And so it's interesting, like when you turn on these filters, give yourself different filters to look at the world in, then you're going to find different things. And that's really the purpose of this interview, or any of this force anything. It's how can we help people find what is working? How can we expand that by focusing on it? How can we help people be a force for good and find the opportunity? Because it never goes away. It only switches places. So where is it now? What can we do to adapt to that now and turn your brain on that direction? So I love that.
It's really very powerful, and a practical exercise, 2 exercises. One is to write down 50 things you're grateful for. 50 things you're grateful for. And then as you write them down, notice how you feel. The second exercise is write down 20 accomplishments that you've achieved in your life. Simply being born is an accomplishment.
Okay.
Walking, talking, graduating, friendships, they're all accomplishments. Write them down and notice how you feel. You will be very surprised. When I said 20, you may think, oh my gosh, that's a lot. It's not a lot. And you will easily do more than 20. And then the secret is what you focus on is what you get. So I was a little bit upset today. I said, Anil, why are you upset? And I realized I was stacking all the negative things. And I'm really good at that at times, but I was able to see that and change it. So whenever you're feeling sad or upset, go back to these accomplishments, go back to these gratitudes, and then stack them up. and all of a sudden, everything gets better. It's like if you go into a house and it's really dark, you don't go and remove the darkness, you flick the switch. So when you focus on your gratitude and accomplishments and you start giving, you're flicking the switch. So the bad stuff, the darkness will disappear on its own.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really powerful and practical.
It's a good way to think about it. It reminds me of an exercise I've been doing. So my career has been a difficult one. I've had a lot of things I've had to overcome in the last 10 years now. But I would ask my mentor, I'm like, why does God let people, good people, go through hard things? And it was actually the best answer I've ever heard. And it was a lot of times, especially in the beginning or right before you're called to go through some big breakthrough in your life, you will have to overcome, I don't know if you call it the desert or the giant obstacle. Other people have said like the universe is testing if you really meant it, but you'll have to overcome this thing and you think you're going to die during it. It's all this like just crazy difficult period. But once you overcome it, you'll always be able to look back and say, this thing that's in front of me, which may be bigger or worse, you don't know it yet. This is not going to be that bad because if I've already overcome this, then I can do that. So I love that. So I've overcome a lot, and it's always given me that faith inside myself and the courage to keep going, because I thought, well, if I've done that, I can do this. I've never written it out like that. I think that's genius, actually saying, here's all the stuff you've already overcome. So this is why you're going to overcome this virus situation. You know, we've all overcome the recession of 2008. It's different, but there are common denominators. What's the same, so that we're not acting like this is a completely brand new attack? It's the same, but it's just so different. And if it's just so different, then we're focusing on this, not this.
Yep. And it's the mindset. I say to myself, I'm bigger than this. I handle this. I always have, I always will. Step out of the way. I'm ready.
Ooh.
So it's really mindset. Everything is mindset. If you have this belief system that no matter what life throws at you, you can handle it, that gives you the freedom. It gives you the freedom to be and the confidence to know that you are resourceful enough, you are strong enough, that you can handle this, you always will. And that gives you peace and freedom to be at ease, knowing that you can handle it.
I love that. I've tried to explain it before. Okay, whatever life throws at you, you almost like catch it and you ninja it into being something that's the greatest thing that ever happened to you. So your pain can become your purpose, or the worst thing ended up becoming the best thing. But you have to, it reminds me of my favorite quote, which is Napoleon Hill's, with every obstacle carries with it a seed of equal or greater opportunity. But if you don't start looking for that seed, you're never going to find it, because you plant it, water it, talk about it, and say, no, whatever it is. For some people, you may need to say, like, God works everything out for my good. You know, you may need to say, doesn't matter. No matter what, I'm going to overcome this. Or you can just say, I'm a freaking ninja. And at the end of the day, this will work out better than I ever planned. And I don't have to know right now.
And adversity is your friend. And a really powerful trick I can give your people is this: expect adversity to come your way, so that when it does come, it's not a surprise. So, you know what? I was expecting you. Come in. This is the way out.
I like that.
Really, because if you know it's coming, it's not going to be a shock. You're not going to react. You're going to respond saying, look, I knew it was coming. I'm ready for you. Let's see what we can play. Let's see what fun we can have. Let's see how I can get stronger here and smarter here and make a bigger difference here.
All right, I'll play devil's advocate to that statement. So if you're saying expect adversity to come, where's the balance of that versus like attracting it?
Well, so you're not attached to it. You know that adversity will come. Mm-hmm. You know it's going to come. You know, a law of averages. You know, you're going to get one every 3-5 years. So you're not wishing it to come, but you know it's coming. You know it's going to happen. And then when it does happen, you're ready for it. And if it doesn't happen, even better. But you're not fearful of it. That's the secret. You're not fearful of it, and you're not going to react to it. See, a lot of people at the moment are reacting, and they're reacting very strongly negatively. So they're not seeing things as they are. They're seeing things much worse than they are. Then, as human beings, we will find further evidence to confirm, wow, it is really bad. Did you hear this? Did you hear that? And the television's on, and the news station's on, and this and this and this and this and this. So really, you have to be very objective and respond, not react.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. That's a good one. All right. So what causes unhappiness, in your opinion?
Well, it's really the happiness formula. Happiness equals G cubed. The first G is give. The second G is gratitude. And the third G is grow. You have to grow emotionally, physically, spiritually, and mentally. This is a really great question. If you're not happy right now, one of those three G's is at a much lower level than the others.
Okay.
So grade yourself on the three G's. What's your give score? What's your gratitude score? What's your grow score? And whichever is the lowest, work on that one. So if it's grow, work out, is it emotional, physical, spiritual, or mental? And then work on that. So that way, that gives you clarity. A lot of people, when they're unhappy, really are in it. So they can't work it out. But this is a way that you can look from the outside and say, you know what? I haven't given lately. Time to give. I haven't been grateful lately. I've been focusing on what I don't have. So that gives you the clarity, and it helps you to help someone else, which is a beautiful thing.
I love that. I think it's easy to remember. I like the easy to remember. Yeah. So do you have any practical exercises for overcoming straight up depression or straight up suicidal thoughts?
The number one is give. Serve someone else. I've been in that suicidal thought mechanism, and I was focusing on me.
Right. It's always.
And the moment you start serving someone else, you start feeling differently. As human beings, we do everything for a feeling. So once you start serving, you feel differently. That gives you hope. And that takes your focus off you. And focus on gratitude. Do that exercise, the gratitude exercise, the accomplishment exercise. And just work on you. Focus on how you can become a different person. What is it that you need to let go? Sometimes you're beating yourself up. Forgiveness is a big thing. I call forgiveness the express pathway to freedom. Yeah, very big thing. The quality of your life is dependent on the depth and authenticity of the forgiveness you extend to others and to yourself. So, ask yourself, am I beating myself up? Who do I need to forgive? Maybe it's you. Ooh. But the number one thing, please, 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 give. It'll make the biggest difference.
So this is an interesting question. I've never asked you. Is there a way to actually measure happiness?
Actually, there is. I have a happiness test. I have a numerical score that if you take this test, it's myhappytest.com, you'll get a score out of 100. Okay. Plus, you will get a detailed analysis of which area of your life you need to work on. 25 questions, 3 minutes. And then if you take the happiness test today and then redo it in a week, you'll notice there's a difference. And if it goes up, you can say, what did I do? If it goes down, what did I do wrong, or what didn't I do? So that gives you a balance that you can use for living a richer, happier, fuller life.
I love that. Okay. That was not the answer I was expecting, but that's perfect. So it's myhappiness.com?
myhappytest.com.
Happy test. My happy test. Okay. All right. So you're somebody with a pretty good filter. You got a pretty good way to look at the world, pretty good way to find the good, pretty good way to find opportunities. So what new opportunities are you seeing globally for mankind as a whole right now? I know it's a big question, but kind of new opportunities are you seeing for mankind as a whole right now?
You know, I was talking to a very good friend of mine this morning, and he has a very big business in the agri field. And he sent me a beautiful video, and I'll share that video with you, of the things that they were doing. They were repurposing their factory to make a hand sanitizer within 24 hours. They were feeding the homeless. They were helping out. They were teaching. They were doing whatever they could. So this is what I see, that people will start focusing on other people, and it won't be just the money. It won't be the numbers. You know, if we, you know, the way to become a billionaire is to serve 1 billion people. That, to me, is more important than the amount of money that you have. So what I'm seeing is that bigger companies are more socially conscious, and that they're doing it not for PR, but just for the sake of doing the right thing. And I think there's a lot of momentum coming in, and there will be a tipping point where it'll be the norm. And because that becomes the norm, everything changes.
I think that obviously this is the great equalizer. And I heard another G-Force member say that we're all realizing we're part of the global village, which I think is beautiful. And the kind of things that happen after a hurricane, which is why I love helping during that time, is exactly what you're seeing. Doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you have. How can we help with whatever we have? So I want to challenge everybody listening on this call, audit your life. You know, after the storm, I came here and I saw Richard using his catamaran as a rescue boat. And I saw other island owners using their helicopters to drop off supplies on remote islands so that people didn't starve to death. And I saw, you know, Kurt Richardson, the founder of Otterbox, brought in Convoy of Hope and fed the whole most populated island for 120 days. Like, that didn't break them because they had money, they had boats, they had helicopters. Those were their resources. And I looked at my life and I didn't have any of those things. And so I was like, but what do I have? I have a media production company. Well, I'd never done a documentary like this. I'd never done a web series telling the story of a recovery, but I figured it out. And so I think that's what I'm really loving seeing right now, is people are starting to ask themselves those questions. You may have, you know, $20 in the bank. So it might not be a money related thing that you can give, but by God, you can give hope. You can reach out and see how people are doing. You can post something encouraging versus sharing more bad news. Like, what do you have and how can I use it as a force for good during this time? So I was going to ask you that next. What other things do you think people could be doing to be a force for good right now?
Well, you know, ask themselves a question. What is my greatness? What is my gift? What am I really good at? How can I serve? What can I give? And that in itself will transform the way they feel about themselves. There's always something that you can do, even if it's a helping hand or a nice word or a nice gesture or thanking someone, because we never know the impact we have on other people. We never know how they feel about us. People will always remember how you made them feel. A small thing, a small gesture could make the biggest difference. Somebody may be suicidal and you smile at them. It could take them off that path. You don't know, and you'll never know. So remember one thing, be so amazing that you cannot be ignored. And if you are ignored, it doesn't matter, because how you show up will be totally different. I encourage all of you to show up with your greatness, show up with enthusiasm, show up with beautiful, honorable intent, and everything changes.
Kindness is free. You know, kindness doesn't cost anything. So don't think you have to be a billionaire to make a difference.
Yeah.
All $1 billion gives you is more resources to do more of whatever you care about. You know, all money does is it's an expansion tool.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing to have either.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how I measure a man's wealth is this, is what he has left when you take away all his possessions.
Ooh.
How kind is he? How loving is he? How generous is he? How playful is he? What difference does he make? That's how I measure a man's wealth.
Who still feels loved, who truly loves them too.
Yeah.
I love it. Everything else is just an expansion tool.
Yep.
Of your heart.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. I want to hear some parting advice, and I want to hear anything else you have on how we could 10x our happiness during this specific time of life?
Okay. Give, perform 5 to 10 random acts of kindness, not just today, but forever. Be grateful for what you have. Don't focus on what you don't have. And grow emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally. Work on your physical health. Work on your mental health. Work on you, because small changes today will make a big change over a year, 5 years, 10 years. It's your choice. Be so amazing that you cannot be ignored. And remember, you are bigger than this. You are smarter than this. You can handle this. You always have, you always will. And it's a time for you to shine. It's time for you to become a leader and inspire other leaders. It's not about you. It's about the difference you make, and you do make a difference.
Ooh, I love it. And I've loved talking to you. Thank you so much, Anil. You are amazing. I will put on here how you can find him. Follow him. He's always sharing daily wisdom. He has got an amazing course that everybody should go through. You're also a coach, and that's really one of the ways that I connected with you. We've done some coaching sessions, and I didn't think I needed a coach for happiness. But when I sat down with him, we just worked through some stuff that was blocking me from going to the next level. So I thank you for that. I thank you for all that you do to serve so many people. And again, grateful to have you on the show.
Yeah, no, I'm so grateful you invited me. I'm so grateful for the difference you make. Thank you so much.